Welcome back, and in this segment we will be talking with our guest today about the agreements between the Vaxera and China's Sinovac biopharmaceutical company in Cairo to produce the Sinovac vaccine locally. And we are joined with our guest today, Dr. Magdy Adly, and he's a Senior Manager Inspector in Health Insurance Authority, and he will tell us more about this agreement. Hello, sir.
Hello, sir.
Welcome to our program.
Thank you for having me tonight.
Thank you, sir. Sir, let's start with the importance of this agreement between Vaxera and Sinovac.
Okay, in fact, nowadays, all the world, there is a war about the having and availability of vaccines. I'd like to say something very important for our viewers tonight. 85% of vaccines which have been produced, and that, by the way, according to what have been published with the Ministry of Health, Dr. Adly, go to only 12 countries. 85% of vaccines go to 12 countries. 50% of these vaccines go to 2 countries only. So it's not an easy job to get a vaccine. And in fact, Egypt, since the beginning of pandemic in Egypt, are think and intend to not only for receiving vaccines from outside, but also for transfer the technology of manufacturing or localization manufacturing here in Egypt locally, through our national company for biological products and vaccine, which is Vaxera. A few days ago, Ministry of Health, in presence of Prime Minister and the Ambassador of China, has assigned or have assigned a coordination agreement for manufacturing Sinopharm vaccine here in Egypt locally, to cover all population first and local use, then for export to other brother African countries and Arab countries. Mm-hmm. So that will be very good, by the way. And by the way, Vaxera already create a new factory in 6 October city, according to the recent global quality measurement. And WHO send experts to check up that factory and to check the quality on the ground, so that you can take agreement for starting the production of vaccines. And they tend to manufacturing like 40 million doses through 2021, so that can cover a many population. And you know, by the way, that pandemic can be fight only through 2 ways. First, to have the infection already. Second, to have the vaccine, so that you can create the antibodies against that virus once you hit it with it. So we're supposed to hurry up for having vaccine. And by the way, WHO send message to all people, to all the world. Once you find a vaccine, you're supposed to take it direct, and you consider yourself lucky.
Sir, but what do you say about most of the people are afraid still of being vaccinated?
I know some of people are hesitated to take vaccine because this is a new virus. We don't know a lot about that virus, but I'd like to say for them, all vaccines are safe and effective and have little side effect, not as published that many vaccines have problems. No, all vaccines having a good safety and a good efficacy, may be difference in the percent of efficacy, but not less than 80% up to 95%.
But sir, how about that the virus now is being transformed? Every now and then we hear that the virus now transformed and the vaccine will not be effective for this virus.
No, not exactly. Even we have a vaccine. Vaccine must be modulated or have a change year by year according to the recent copies of that virus. That virus, when spread on a large scale, having something which called mutation. It mutated, so it have a new shape and a new copy of or a new version. So every year we start manufacturing of vaccination, and we will continue for that. Like seasonal influ, every year there is a new version of seasonal influ, and a new vaccine for seasonal influ. It will be like that with COVID-19.
So the vaccines are going to be changed on a yearly basis?
Yes, it will be seasonally and yearly, and by the way, may be taken twice a year. Every 6 months you can take a vaccine.
Okay, what's available now in Egypt? We have two kinds of vaccines. We have AstraZeneca and we have the Sinopharm.
Sinopharm, yes.
Most of the people prefers AstraZeneca.
No, I think, as I told you, both of them are effective and give a good result, by the way. So if you go to a center for vaccination and you find Sinopharm, this is good. You will find AstraZeneca is very good also. What we need is to encourage people to go to these centers. And by the way, Minister of Health, Dr. Al said we increase that centers to be up 3,000 designed places for vaccination, in addition to 600 hospitals. And in a few next time or next days, you will find a vaccination in an open area, in crowded places like metro stations. You will registrated alive and vaccinated alive. That will happen in the future, by the way. But it's according to the availability of vaccine. Now we would like to have enough quantities of vaccine, so we will start vaccine all population, so that there is no chance for any more spread of virus.
Manufacturing the vaccine in Egypt, how this would have an impact, direct impact, of course, on the region?
That manufacturing itself of vaccine keep the country itself in a safe side through vaccination of its population. This is first, and give it a very strategical role in the region, like Mediterranean regions or African regions, that you have something which is very important. The health of population is very important weapon, by the way. So when you be a center in a region for production of vaccine and export it to another countries, so you have a strong power, by the way. And all the world now are competing together to keep the spread of that virus be limited, because you know, when that virus be not under control, it will be a catastrophe. Yes, like what happened in India now, and we pray for them because the situation is very bad there.
Okay, now we have two countries agreeing to manufacture the vaccine in Egypt, Russia and China. How do you see this step?
For Russian vaccine, for a Chinese vaccine, we already make an official cooperation agreement. But for Russian vaccine, which is Sputnik 5, we have a negotiation now with the even the Minister of Health met the ambassador of Russia here in Cairo for import and import that Russian vaccine. And the Russian vaccine, by the way, is very effective in many countries using it, like in Latin America. Most of these countries there are using Russian vaccine, and he is a promised vaccine and a very good result, by the way. And we will think that even the private companies, the private medical companies, can share for that rule through a transfer of the technology of production of Russian vaccine here in Egypt, so that will increase the production and availability of doses, so that we can overcome that virus in a short time. But right now, the one which is official now is a Chinese vaccine through Sinovac company and Vaxera company.
And what's the difference between both vaccines, the Sinovac and Sinopharm, when it comes to speak about efficiency?
This is a good question. By the way, two vaccines have been made in a traditional way of production of vaccine. You know, there is a new technology for production of vaccines and a traditional method for production of vaccine. Chinese vaccine has been made on a traditional way, which is weakened the virus itself. You weaken the virus. They bring the virus. They take the RNA, messenger RNA from the virus and the core of the virus empty, so they give it as a spike only to the case, so the body create antibodies against that spike. So it's a weakened virus. And by the way, this type of vaccines are very safe. By the way, I'd like to say that for our viewers, don't be hesitate when you take vaccines. It's just like the other vaccine, and have no side effect, only redness in the site of injection or rise in the temperature of the body 1 or 2 days only, and this is not a harmful side effect.
So according to the studies, how long we are going to live with this coronavirus?
It's a good question, but the answer is nobody can know. That's right, because
this is in itself
the problem
dangerous.
is how to the wave of COVID-19, by the way, and this on my responsibility, want to stop. It will be seasonal, but how to control it, this is the question. How to decrease the rate of deaths because of COVID-19. The problem is not the rate of infection. The problem is the rate of death. When you, and this is the rule of vaccine, by the way, how to keep the rate of death decrease, even the rate of infection increase. The rate of infection is no problem, it's not a problem, but rate of this must be decreased This is the problem, and the countries getting vaccine, almost all of population, they find that result, that they have an infected cases, a lot of infected cases, like Germany, for example, 26,000 cases per day, but the rate of death is going down because vaccine stopped the severe progress of symptoms. The problem is the virus is coming so easily, then once it comes to the body, become dangerous and be severe day by day, and the case need ICU or oxygen.
So now people have to accept the idea that they are going to live with the COVID-19.
Yes, this is a fact, and we're supposed to know that very well. We will stay with that virus. We're supposed to live with that virus, but in the same time, we're supposed to know how to control it, how to consider it as a normal seasonal flu. This is the question. But that virus won't disappear between day and night. This is the truth. We're supposed to deal with it.
Okay, going back to the vaccines, how did the WHO receive the Chinese and the Russian vaccines?
In fact, in the first time, in the beginning of pandemic and registration of vaccine, they, as you know, WHO supposed to complete all measurements and documents for companies to register the vaccine itself. So once these companies complete their documents for registration, the WHO gives the license to production and exportation of vaccines, and that happened with Chinese vaccine and Russian vaccine. By the way, WHO needs more companies for production of vaccines, because you know this is a global pandemic. It's not something related to one country. It's a global, so it's a global problem. As the quantities of vaccine dose increase, they can compete or contain the virus very fast, not to be harmful for many people.
Okay, sir, now Egypt received over 1.5 million doses so far from deliveries. What is the least necessary population rate that are needed to be vaccinated?
Look, for vaccination, Ministry of Health from the beginning make priorities for vaccinations. They make the priorities, like first is the medical team in for hospitals of screen hospitals and quarantine hospitals. And by the way, there is difference between screen hospitals and quarantine hospitals, because nowadays people think all hospitals are for quarantine. No, there is screen hospitals, which when somebody feel not good, he go to screen hospital, so they investigated him and check him up. If he have the symptoms of COVID, and COVID, as you know, there is 3 classes of COVID: mild, moderate, and severe. If he have mild and moderate, they give him medication and
he goes home.
Yes, and if severe, he went to a quarantine hospitals, having isolation. Then for the priorities of vaccination, the medical team is the first. And by the way, I invite medical team to take vaccine, because right now 50% of medical team who registrate on website of ministry is still not vaccinated, and this is very dangerous, by the way, because you are vulnerable to be infected every day. So you're supposed to take vaccine to save yourself, to save your family. Then for the other elderly people and people having a chronic disease, this is the second priority for the vaccination. Third is the people having an immune disease. You know, some people having something called rheumatoid. This is an immune disease, lupus, something like that. And finally, the normal people who are supposed to take vaccine. But I'd like to say something. Once we have enough quantity for vaccines, all these groups will be vaccinated in a very little time. In a very little time. As we've seen, and the Ministry of Health said 100% of the workers in the tour have been vaccinated, all of them in Sinai and in Red Sea Governor.
Yeah.
We need that in all sectors of the country. We need to be vaccinated in a little time, so that even if one have be infected, it will be mild and won't go to a severe symptoms, which make a collapse for health systems of countries.
Yeah.
The main reason for collapse of the health system in countries like in India is a lot of severe cases come together in one time. So you don't have enough hospitals, you don't have enough.
Things went out of control there.
Yes, that's what happened exactly.
Well, Dr. Magdy Adly, Senior Manager, Inspector in Health Insurance Authority, thank you very much for joining us today.
I'm very happy to be with you tonight, and good evening, and happy Liberty Day, by the way.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
And by this, we come to the end of the Cairo Local Time. I'm Dina Mamdouh. Many thanks for watching.